Everyone has finally played the same number of matches at the top of the table, and Manchester City are top. Liverpool's woeful form continues to plague them. Can they bounce back from their cup exit against United? Chelsea have a new man at the helm, sacking Frank Lampard and replacing him with Thomas Tuchel. Jose is preparing Spurs to welcome the champions to North London. Will their form continue and heap more pressure on Liverpool? Arsenal are ostensibly safe from relegation, breaking the 30-point barrier today. And this is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Whenever you're hearing this from, thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from four friends who support different clubs. Red Card Radio hopes to tell and opine on the major story threads of the Premier League with a more specific focus on the clubs we support. My name is James, and I'm joined weekly by my three good friends, Tamzid, Brad, and Sean. I support Arsenal. Tamzid is a lifelong Liverpool supporter. Sean's allegiances belong to Tottenham, and Brad is a fan of Chelsea Football Club. All that said, this is our look at the state of the Premier League after match day 19. Again. Sorta. Because last week I said it was 19 as well, and this week's at 19 as well again. So I don't know. We're in a weird spot because
Premier League catch-up week.
Right, exactly. But speaking of that, let's take a quick look at the table, see what's going on. Okay, there we go. Got the table up. So at the top, like I said, City is first position with 41 points. United are second at 40. Leicester are third at 38 points. And after today's match, West Ham United Football Club, the pride of London, the Hammers, are in fourth place on 35 points. Is that
London or Birmingham?
It's certainly not Birmingham.
but Aston Villa, Jim, because I get them confused. Same color.
They have played one extra game. But Liverpool 5th, Tottenham 6th. Everton need to play a billion games because they've only played 17 so far. And everyone else is at 19 and or 20. Arsenal are into the top 10. Chelsea are number 10. And the bottom of the table is looking about the same, though Newcastle continue to plummet like they have an anvil tied to their legs. And I think that anvil is Steve Bruce. But we'll get to that. Because we want to start this week. We are basically midway, or like 75% of the way through the transfer window. And this has been kind of a boring transfer window. But some things have happened. I think the biggest news of the week, Chelsea have decided to make a swap at the top. They've reached a mutual agreement with Frank Lampard to terminate his contract, and they're picking up Thomas Tuchel on a free. So that's not going to cost them a lot. And it's apparently a short deal for Thomas Tuchel as well. It's only 18 months
with a year,
an option on both ends for an additional year. So Brad, as our resident Chelsea legend aficionado, tell us what are your feelings? What are your thoughts about Thomas Tuchel? Are you excited? Are you sad about Super Frank? What's going on, man?
So let's go with all of the above. I'm more frustrated, I guess, than sad, because the whole time this has been conceived, Frank coming to the club was a project, and that he was here to build up to a project, and it was a 3-year plan, and like he's always said, it's a 3-year plan, and they cut his legs out from him 18 months into it. I'm not to say that I'm super shocked, but like I think I've been pretty clear that I'm definitely Lampard in. I like the players he's brought in. You know, they came because of him, and they've all said that in this transfer window.
Okay, but that's PR, right? Like
it's fodder,
right? Everyone says that because they have to. It's not like so like every player that Arsenal have signed over the last 12 months, the storyline is like, Adu called them, who's our technical director. Adu called them, but what really put them over the edge was the phone call with Mikel Arteta. Like that's
PR talk.
Yeah, that's
when every new signing comes in and they're like, "Oh man, I was sitting in the couch watching Istanbul in 2005."
Yeah. So
but either way, like they cut the legs off and under him in the middle of his project.
I do agree with that.
Am I excited for Tuchel to come in? Yes. Do I think it changes a ton this year? No. Do I think we'll have that that uplift? Possibly. Do I still see us as like sneaking to that top 4? Probably. We're definitely getting European football with Tuchel. But yeah, I'm more frustrated. I think so.
Why?
If he can pull any one of our players that are slumping and can't score goals and get them to score goals again, yes.
But how's he going to score goals? What is he going to do different from Fat Frank? That's going to suddenly turn the tide.
So weren't there reports that Frank had lost the dressing room? I know that a lot of talk, at least in Arsenal circles, have been comparing Frank Lampard, his handling of Chelsea's poor form, and Arteta's handling of Arsenal's poor form. And one of the things that the Arsenal circle continue to bring up is the fact that Arteta was always shielding the players. He was always saying, look, we didn't play well, but this is my fault because I'm the manager. It's coming down on me. Whereas it looked like Frank was like, well, look, the guys just didn't run today. They didn't try. Like I did what I was supposed to, and they let me down. That's what it seemed like, and that's at least what's going around in the Arsenal circle. And so I guess there's questions about whether or not Frank had lost the dressing room. I don't know what Chelsea fans or supporters are thinking about that. I don't know if you're privy to that.
Yeah, what's going on in Chelsea circles is the blame game of like the senior guys who hadn't been playing, like Alonso and Rudiger. That's where they were pushing the blame. That's where the discontent started because they weren't playing. They weren't getting the time that they were before. But either way, I think you are correct. Like Frank putting it on the players. I mean, there's a way to do it, and then there's a way not to do it. And he was putting the blame on them instead of himself, or sharing the blame. It was more of like, hey. But at the same time, though, if they're not doing the basics, I wouldn't go out to the media about it necessarily.
The way to do it, the way to throw your players under the bus is by winning a Champions League. When you win a Champions League, then you can say, oh, well, I have this on my resume, and I can say, oh, the players are not working hard enough. But if you're in your third year in management, you can't say that in public. Even if it's true, you can't publicly say that.
Correct, but to your point, as a player, he does have a Champions League trophy.
Say that.
I agree. I think definitely young in his managerial career to take on a club like Chelsea. I definitely agree with you guys there. But to your point, he does have a Champions League trophy.
He has 0 trophies as a manager and several finals blown.
Okay, but you didn't clarify that. You said a Champions League trophy, which he does have.
But there's a distinction.
I'm pointing to his managerial career.
I hear you. I know. I was just fighting semantics. I hear you, and you're correct. I think 3 years into managing and taking a club like Chelsea, or even like first club Arteta managing Arsenal, like that's a big ask if you don't have the experience to fall onto that.
Where was he? I don't remember. Where was he?
Derby.
Derby? He was the Derby.
Yeah, Derby. And he almost got them to the Prem, to the playoffs. I think into the finals there.
Yeah, he lost the final.
Point. Yeah. But I mean, we gotta look forward. It's Tuchel time.
Well, Tamzid, I think you probably have a little bit more insight on Tuchel because you are a bit more of a student of the German game. You watch a little bit more. And he's from the Jurgen Klopp tree, I think is what we spoke about last week. You don't think so?
Oh, he's not. He just followed him up, right?
He just is, he's just
he came from Mainz.
Well, he directly followed Klopp at Mainz and then directly followed him again at Dortmund.
Correct.
Yeah.
But then, he got his start as a youth coach, if reading right, and then developed from there. But I'll let Tammy go.
In order to understand Tuchel, you have to understand his relationship to both Pep and Klopp, because he's the guy that improves Klopp's team. Because Klopp's team run into a wall inevitably, which is that like hyper emotional style of play becomes too much, and then they run out of ideas and they start. That's what happened to his Dortmund team. That's what happened to his Mainz team too. His Mainz team got promoted, stayed 2 years in the season, and then got relegated again. This is the same. It's a cycle. Like it's draining because it's the man who lives life at like 150 miles an hour. But Tuchel is closer. He's also a juego de posición manager. He's a JDP manager. He's a positional play manager. The same mold as Guardiola or like Eric Ten Hag of Ajax. He's the same. Arteta is trying to be the same. He doesn't have the players to do it. That's the key thing about JDP play, is that you need to have a very specific style of players who are both like information sponges, who like absorb everything you tell them to and will do it like borderline faultlessly, and also be technically like really clever in and around like special areas, right? Because if they become too robotic, then they become like City, where you can catch them out really easily, right?
Yeah.
But if they have like a lot of natural intelligence to their game, then they become 2011 Barcelona, where you have Xavi, Iniesta, Messi. They were geniuses before Guardiola came in, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of what's going to happen with Tuchel ball, but Tuchel is also like a very emotional person.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen him on like touchlines for Dortmund or for PSG, he's like always yelling and screaming or whatever. But yeah, like it's like he's like the middle ground between the two. But like philosophy wise, like in terms of the way he wants to play football, he's much more closer to Guardiola than he is to Klopp. And so that's going to be the fundamental challenge, is like, do Chelsea have players that are smart enough to play positional ball?
It's an interesting question, because like
that's why it's like, well,
going back to like
goals. Well, how? Like
it's an interesting question to see what's going to happen,
because Lampard essentially gave the players free roll to do whatever you want on ball or whatever.
Yeah, just roll the ball out and let them play.
Yeah, roll the ball out, let them play, and that's fine. Works sometimes, doesn't work a lot of times, and Chelsea got caught against good like organized teams. Good managers caught Chelsea out constantly, and so that sort of hints to the fact that the Chelsea players may not be particularly quick thinking enough to actually or like independent enough to actually go on and do what they want to do. And so that's how I'm like, I don't know if they could succeed under Tuchel.
You would think if the previous philosophy was kind of like, just let your footballing ability take over, because that's the talk. Like, this team is really good, right? Like the squad has a lot of class players, and if the old philosophy is, we'll just go out there and be class, and they're just not doing it, you kind of wonder like what the disconnect is.
Right. I mean, the initial bounce will be solid because Tuchel's a very angry man, so he's always yelling and screaming and whatever. But inevitably, the situation will come so the pattern's going to be, they're going to have a really nice bounce. They're going to end the season poorly. Next season, another 250 million comes in, right? Of probably Marquinhos. I'm gonna throw my hat in for the first transfer of the summer that Chelsea are going to do. It's probably going to be Marquinhos, right? And we're going to have a solid set of play for another like 17, 18 games or whatever, and then the Guardiola problem will come up, where like, what happens once a team figures you out? Because
will you adapt?
Right? Yeah, will you adapt? And JDP teams always struggle to do that because their players are like drilled into playing a very specific way constantly.
So
what I'd also say, to his credit, and so he's going to be reunited with Pulisic, and he got a lot out of Pulisic. And Thiago. So, I mean, he got a lot out of Gundogan, and to a point where he goes to City, and to your point, to a similar style to Pep, and it's also, well, it took him a little while, but he's starting to thrive now. Dembele, and then again to your point, who left that style and went to Barca, right? And it just isn't doing very well.
It isn't just those. Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan.
Mkhitaryan. Yeah, that's where I was going to go to next. Yep.
Those are much more definitive answers to how Tuchel likes to play. When Brad said it in the group chat, he's like, "Oh, he plays like so many different formations." I'm like, "Yeah, because their style of play of positional play, isn't reliant on like." So they basically cut the field into 9 zones, and you can only move vertically, but you can't move horizontally in the zones. It's really complicated trying to explain this to somebody, right? But basically,
I saw that cutout.
Fundamentally, it comes out to like wherever the ball is, your whole system like changes, right? So if the ball is in the left back zone, you have a different style to when the ball would be in midfield, right? It's a really complicated system to try to explain to people. So it's incredibly annoying.
So what I was saying is like when you don't have the ball, it's Gengen pressing, right? It's overload the zone. When you do
what?
I'm gonna mispronounce it, so go ahead and say it.
It's what?
No, go ahead. I mispronounced it. Go ahead.
Gengen.
Gangnam style. It's Gangnam style.
I said Gengen.
Gengen.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
say counter pressing. Just say counter pressing.
So it's a very heavy counter pressing, and then it's spread out when you get the ball back. Spread out quick passes up the field.
Yeah, they're going to want to exploit the space,
yeah.
which I think could
work because
you guys have good wingers.
Yeah, but in this system, the wingers tuck in more, and it's the fullbacks that are doing a lot. Which Chilwell and I think Reese will do well there. I think we'll see.
Yeah, that's my thought process on it. Is you have the tools,
right,
to at least have early success.
I think Jorginho's going to come back into the team too, from everything that I've been seeing, because he's the type of passer and player that fits that deep lying CM role the most that we have.
We could probably sit here and analyze this for quite a long time, but I don't want to turn this into the Chelsea show because I want to know. I want to hear Tamzeed's opinions about this whole Klopp FSG drama, because apparently it's come out this week. I think in the Liverpool circles that I'm tangentially attached to through Tamzeed's Twitter, about this whole beef that's brewing.
Basically, for the last several years, we've all, as like a fan base, are very split between FSG in or FSG out, right? And it's largely because we can see that Klopp is making minor miracles happen by putting square pegs in round holes year after year, right? Like we've played James Milner as a left back for a whole season. We played Gini Wijnaldum as a false 9 at the Camp Nou, right? We have played several games with Divock Origi left wing. There's been a lot of times where we've essentially had to make do, and it's gotten to the point where it's really hard to continually make do when all of your midfielders are playing as center backs.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's becoming really, and so for the first time in his tenure, and Klopp has always defended the decisions of the boards, which are obvious decisions from the board. Like, nobody wants to go into a season with no left back. Like, nobody actually wants to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so, but Klopp has always stood by. He's like, oh no, it's my decision, blah, 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 whatever, right? And so, this is the first time on the press conference before United.
The Cup game.
Before United, the Cup game. He basically said that, like, the decision to have a center back was beyond him. And so now we're all like, well, fucking finally, right? Like, let's go. Klopp wants to beef with FSG, and now all the managers are all the journalists are now turning on FSG and like, oh, well, time's running out to get a center back. I'm like, I remember 3 weeks ago when all of you were saying that we don't need center backs, but now it's gotten like desperate that like, oh man, this is great. I've been waiting 2 years for this.
Do you think it's gonna? So now that the journalists are on your side, do you think that you guys make a panic signing over the next 5 days?
I'm fairly confident we're gonna sign a center back in the next 5 days, or FSG will never be allowed in the city of Liverpool again. John Henry's yacht is going to be taken out on the harbors.
Is that how he gets to Liverpool games? He jumps in his yacht in Boston?
I think so. We didn't sign. over the last 2 years, we have a complete neutral transfer budget. So we ended up selling 35 mil in the summer of 2019. Didn't sign anybody, and then we sold 45 mil this summer, and we bought 75 mil worth of players. Great, we have completely broken even on our transfer budget. We're the 5th richest club in the world.
Yeah, I saw that today. You
richest club in the world.
Y'all were tweeting that today. Moving on up there. Can't buy a center back.
That is shameful.
I mean, it seems a little outrageous, especially for the way that you guys performed over the last 2 seasons, winning the Champions League, then winning the Premier League, and then there's been like 0 reinforcements. I mean, like, it just seems. And you guys let a lot of people go this summer.
The biggest, Lallana, Sturridge, the big. I know you brought it up in like our group chat about like Arsenal having some of the big problem is that like the entire fan base worships Jurgen Klopp, and the Arsenal fan base took out their anger on Arsene Wenger instead of Kroenke in them, right? Because don't growl at me like that. Johan Giroud and Philip Senderos deserve to play no Champions League football in their life.
Yeah.
It is a criminal offense that they got to play Champions League ball.
Arsene Wenger is a miracle worker. Like, the man, what he did with what he had was outrageous. But it's a lot easier to be supportive of someone when your last 2 seasons are a Champions League title and a Premier League title. So Wenger last won a trophy in 2005, before 2014. So he had gone 9 seasons without winning a trophy.
I was hearing Wenger out from like 2008.
Yeah, I mean, there was a very small like group of people that were wondering at that point whether or not, because you look at it, like in 2006 we were in the Champions League final. That summer we moved to the Emirates, and it was at that point where it just seemed like the wheels fell off. Now, like, we did have some good title challenges. I think 2007, 2008, I think, was a good title challenge for us. Then there was the Leicester season where we were in it until we got an injury. But like little things like selling Adebayor to City, selling Nasri to City, selling Van Persie to United, and then United winning the league the year after. Like, it would be like if y'all sold like Sadio Mane or what's the other one's name? I can't remember. Salah. Thank you. God, if you guys sold Salah to like Chelsea or something like that, and then Chelsea wins the title the year after, there were just some decision making that were probably out of Wenger's control at that point, that really jaded the fan base. Like, I was never Wenger out. I was like, man, like I want us to win things, and I want Wenger to go out on a high. But I was never like, and I think AFTV really made that whole situation very toxic.
Oh yeah, AFTV definitely.
But that could be.
I'm glad that our version of AFTV, Redmen TV, is run by idiots. I'm thoroughly glad that it's run by like idiots, and they don't know anything, so they don't like care. So I'm like, I'm great. Yeah. Like, thank God.
So I think it's a slightly different situation. I can see the analogy in the Wenger situation, because he was a miracle worker, but man, you speak about that, and I'm thinking about a couple weeks ago there was tweets floating around in the Arsenal sphere of the team that we lined up against AC Milan in the Champions League away at the San Siro, and it was like Shamak or something, like just like absurd players, Emmanuel Abui, like Manuel Almunia.
There were some players that Wenger has given Champions League caps to that do not, in any capacity, deserve Champions League games.
Man, we could have an entire like 3-hour podcast about like the players that played for Arsenal. But I don't want to spend. That would be a fun thing to do. But since Tamseed's leaving, we're gonna talk about Arsenal now, because Arsenal, we've been really active this window. Our whole plan going into this window was move a lot of the dead weight and then potentially pick up some players, and we were always in for an attacking midfielder, and it seems like we got our guy. We have shipped Mesut Ozil to Fenerbahce, and we're signing Odegaard on a 6-month loan from Real Madrid, which I think is going to be a good signing. The 6-month loan is kind of a weird situation because you wonder how long it's going to take him to integrate. Oh my god, I can't say the word. How long it's going to take him to integrate? Thank you. I'm
from Brad.
It's been a week.
Just go from Brad on that one on pronunciations.
Yeah,
I need 2 points.
Well, I said it twice, so clearly I'm having a night. But it's really gonna question how long it's gonna take him to fit into the team. Now, when you're playing that number 10 role, it could be pretty easy, but we'll see. But I think it's a really good signing. But I don't know. Overall, I'm pleased with Arsenal's transfer window. I give it an 8 out of 10.
So what does that mean for Smith Rowe if Odegaard's coming in and play the 10? Does Smith Rowe still play?
Yeah, absolutely. It means that Smith Rowe keeps playing. He might go from being like every Premier League game to, every other Premier League game or something like that. I don't think that you sacrifice your number 10 in the waiting for a 6-month loan. I think that we just needed depth at that position.
Odegaard's a baller.
Yeah, absolutely.
He definitely is. So would you sacrifice your number 10 in the waiting if it got you to 4? If bringing in Odegaard gets you to 4?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, but
so then you think does Odegaard come into that spot more regularly?
I guess we'll see.
If they get to 4th, then Odegaard becomes a permanent signing. Actually, I'm pretty sure they're gonna end up making Odegaard a permanent signing come June anyway.
It's gonna depend on how much Madrid want for him, honestly.
Well, what about Ceballos?
Ceballos, he seems like Ceballos is come out of favor at Arsenal just because he doesn't really have a position, because he's not a number 10, and Thomas Partey is much better box-to-box.
He can't run box-to-box. He can't pass all that well. Yeah. So what is he there for?
Right. He's got good hands.
Why did you?
He's here for vibes.
Yeah. So I think that Ceballos doesn't continue at Arsenal. I like him. He seems like he's got the right attitude, and his work rate is good. But I think that I don't know if his levels are what we need per se. Because if the 20-year-old Emile Smith Rowe is breaking into the team when the team wasn't doing anything, and now we're playing really well, I don't really see.
Because that team needed a 10.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was just asking the question because they're both Madrid loanees. If you had your pick between the one, which one? I guess we'll ask that question at the end of the season. I agree with you.
Knowing
team though.
Knowing nothing, it's going to be Odegaard. But I don't know. Maybe Madrid will give us a cut rate bonus. We'll take 2 for 1. But I don't think we end up taking 2 for 1 because I don't think we need Ceballos at this point. Maybe his backup when we get rid of El Neni this summer. I don't know. But El Neni's another one of those Wenger miracle players.
Right? I genuinely thought he got sold years ago.
Nope.
And he just randomly pops up in a game this year, and I'm like, what is El Neni doing here?
We loaned him out last year. So I think we've loaned him out for the last 2 seasons because Emery didn't like him, maybe is what it was. I don't know. We were going to talk about Spurs next. I don't think have they signed anyone?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, Spurs aren't doing
Probably
anything.
not going to. It's frustrating.
Well,
still need a second striker.
You guys got Gareth Bale. It's okay.
Yeah. No, I just think Højbjerg and Dembele work well together, and then Winks looked good in the cup game, and he's kind of a similar player as Højbjerg.
Who are you guys playing in the cup?
It's tough to judge against a League One team.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a confidence booster, but how much can I take from it?
Not much. It's going to be more interesting as this weekend.
Can I get Rakitic from 7 years ago. Like, is that too much to ask?
You
Like
can
already got him.
like
Yeah,
that.
apparently.
Yeah, I just want another one.
Well, apparently you can have Ericsson back. I'm just saying.
No,
Yeah.
Conte shut that down. Nope, Conte shut that down. He said he is not leaving.
Yeah,
We are not bringing anybody in. We are keeping
Coppa Italia today.
that
Yeah,
goal was.
I don't know where that's at.
It was like the
I'm okay with it
100th minute.
if the price is right.
Yeah.
but
Did you see the goal, said Barry, or no?
no, I did not.
Bruh, it was a good goal. A real good goal, especially in the 97th
Yeah, it's
minute.
all fun and games until he hits the first defender on a corner for 100 straight games in a row.
So, his name's not William.
Yeah,
His name is not William.
I'd like to introduce you to the Arsenal number 12. Who's
So frustrating.
Not on my back. But, all right, so, okay. Spurs aren't doing anything. Unexciting.
Probably not.
Daniel Levy's being a penny pincher. Understood. Spurs doing Spurs things. So let's kind of talk about the table a little bit. Spurs doing Spurs things, exactly. So City are top right now. United are a point behind. Leicester are like 2 points behind City or something, 3 points behind. They're real close. It's pretty neck and neck there. Are Liverpool still in this?
Fuck no, we're about to be 8th.
So, second with that question, right? I want to go in on that. If Liverpool lose Thursday to Tottenham, is Jurgen on the hot seat?
No.
Does that company have?
No.
Absolutely not.
I'm sorry, I'm a Chelsea fan, so like I have to ask those questions because I'm used to hearing those about my team.
No.
Like if I'm in,
We're not going to have this conversation because it's an
He just won the
asinine
league.
question.
I know it probably is. I was just asking the question.
100% Spurs on Thursday. No, like yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. We've had a week off. We played a cup game. Brought in his son and Kane ended up playing because we had to apparently pull our starters out to beat Wycombe.
Weren't you guys beating them already?
I just looked at the scoreline.
No.
They scored 3 goals in the last 5
It was like
minutes.
1-0 until we drew it level at like 60 minutes.
Yeah, it was Gareth Bale. It was my boy.
At the end of the half, and
Yeah,
then they
it
didn't
ended
score at the end of the game.
4-1. But it was like from the 80th minute on.
Okay, so
That's the last 3 were scored.
Tamsin, you are 100% Liverpool not in the title race.
No, we're not in title race. We're going to be in the top 4 race, hopefully,
Okay.
at some point.
Do
Where I'm shooting.
Do you think that Leicester...
My season is now entirely contingent on what happens February 16th.
Okay.
That's
Champions
the game.
Oh,
game
okay.
like,
Right? That's Champions League, right? Tamsin?
Yep.
First leg.
Yeah. First, like, and that's going to be like my entire season built on that.
Okay. I am not willing to pronounce Liverpool dead at this moment. I think that Brad and I maybe not in the best position to opine on this because I think it was like 5 weeks ago or something like that we had this conversation about will anyone catch Liverpool? And Brad and I were both adamant that no one was going to catch Liverpool. So maybe we're not the most... Yeah, Sean,
I think
this was the week that Tamsin wasn't here.
Yeah,
So,
but I think we weren't wrong because Liverpool caught Liverpool.
bro, we were obviously wrong.
But I don't think anybody caught them. I just think they caught up to themselves because they haven't been scoring goals.
No, I refuse to accept your spin on this. We were blatantly
To his point,
wrong.
Liverpool put the stick in the bike wheel.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, 100%. Liverpool put the stick in the bike wheel. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll give you that. But Brad and I were 100% wrong, and Sean
Yeah.
was 100% right. So I just wanted to give credit where credit's due. But Sean and I were kind of talking about this a little bit earlier when it comes to European spaces. The top 10 or 12 are really, really compacted. Now, there's a lot of games to be played for a lot of these teams. Everton, Aston Villa have like 2 or 3 games in hand. And that will maybe shake things up a little bit. But some of our teams are not going to be in the top 7, probably. The traditional top 6 is probably not going to all be in the top 7 this year. And the 7 are the 7 European spaces, assuming that one of those 7 win the FA Cup. So does that worry you as a Chelsea fan, Brad, or as me as an Arsenal fan? I think that Liverpool and Spurs are pretty insulated from this conversation. I think it's more an Arsenal-Chelsea conversation about which teams aren't going to make it into the European spaces. I don't know. What's your opinion on it?
I mean, in terms of run on form, if we make a European spot, I'll be excited. Yeah, it's definitely worrying, and you're right. Like, this is so compact, especially half of the games, on average, half of the games have been played by every single team. Yeah, and it's this tight. That's
a little over, but yeah,
almost. Okay, Everton, Aston Villa, but
low key, you should either hope for Champions League or like 8th.
Right, and not be in Europe.
Is not it.
Well, that's kind of what the Arsenal fan base was talking about last year. Is like we'd rather, or 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago when we were in the Europa League final. It was we'd either want to win the Europa League and be in the Champions League, or lose the Europa League and not be in the Europa League. Because the Europa League is really draining, and I think to your point, like you're talking about that, Tamsy, that was the year that Liverpool missed the Europa League, right? Y'all finished 7th and missed the Europa League, I think. And
yeah, we lost the Europa League final.
Yeah, you lost the Europa League final. Did they finish 8th?
Yeah, they finished 8th that year because I was looking it up. And because they were talking.
But the next year, you guys finished like 4th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you eliminate that.
For most of that next year, we were like the second place team in the league.
Yeah.
Until like January, and Sadio Mane had to go to like AFCON, and we just didn't have enough players to like.
Yeah. So
another season where Jurgen Klopp had to play Adam Lallana as left wing. It was great. Another square peg in a round hole.
So I think this is going to be something pretty interesting to monitor over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Kind of how because once everybody kind of gets on parity on the number of games played, where everything's shaking out. I think Arsenal got a really, really important win today against Southampton. If we lost to Southampton today in the league, that would have been really detrimental to our prospects moving forward. But I think that was a really important win for us.
I also think Saturday's gonna be way more important for you guys. But yeah, I definitely think a bounce back win after the FA Cup trumping. Yes, we're not trumping, but FA Cup L. I agree with you. Is what I'm saying. Sorry.
Okay. So you're saying you're talking about Arsenal.
Yes.
Okay, you're saying so. Okay. Well, I'm kind of treating this independently. I'm sad that we're out of the cup. Like, I love the FA Cup. I think it's a great competition. I think it's a lot of fun. I like winning it. Yeah. I see you, Tamsy. But
it's the reason why I love the Champions League.
Yeah, go away. But so I'm sad that we're out of the cup. But I think if you'd asked me a week ago, would I rather win in the cup and lose in the league, or lose in the cup and win in the league, I think I would ultimately. Last week, I don't know what I would have said, but I think today I'm happy with the outcome.
You would have said the cup. Let's be real.
I don't know. I think last week I would have.
You would have said the cup.
I'll have to go back and listen and see if I asked this question last week.
I'm pretty sure you'd have said both.
Right, of course. But if you had to pick one,
I think that was what I said last week. Is that we're going to win both, but that's my bias showing. But do we think that Everton, West Ham's, Aston Villa's, do we think they have staying power?
Fucking not West Ham.
Yeah, I think they're way out overperforming, but stranger things have happened.
Everton maybe, but I don't think Aston Villa.
I don't know. Everton look good.
Whenever
they play, they always play up, and they got 2 games at hand. 3 games at hand.
3. Because it's technically it's match week 19-20.
Yeah,
in the middle there. Aston Villa could hang around. West Ham's going to plummet because they always plummet.
Always plummet.
They do. And then Everton is going to Everton. So, will they be higher up the table than normally? Sure.
I don't know, man. I think that there's a fundamental difference to Everton than years in the past. I think it's Carlo Ancelotti. Yeah. I think that having a legit coach changes your prospects. Maybe I'm naive to think that Carlo Ancelotti is going to keep Everton playing well or keep them relevant, but I think that they will. I mean, they're playing well now, so I don't see any reason to think that they won't continue.
Everton plays simple football, and it just works.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not that complicated. Sometimes it's just you're going away to Arsenal, you put 10 behind the ball, You just score on the counter, you win, and sometimes you're playing against fucking Derby County in the cup, and you just smash them for 5.
Yeah.
Football's a very easy game.
Well,
unless you're playing for Thomas Tuchel.
Unless you're playing for
and it's super complicated.
Their form and just how they look when you watch their game, I could fully see Everton finishing 3rd or 4th, and Leicester also 3rd or 4th. Like I think that's 2 teams that are going to crash the party.
You know what's the dream? Everton finished 4th, but Liverpool win the Champions League.
So they
take the spot.
So run 2005 again. Run 2005 again.
They've changed.
Or 2012.
They've changed.
Or 2012 when Chelsea won the cup and knocked Tottenham out of the Champions League.
I'm fairly certain the rules have changed since then, and that even if that happens, both teams would still be.
I think they make the rules for the Europa League champion, but I don't know if they do it for both.
I'm pretty sure that if Liverpool finish 5th, win the Champions League, and Everton finish 4th, that Everton are still in the Champions League.
Not unless it's the team that wins the Euro. Not if Arsenal win the Europa League.
True, there can't be 6. That's true. There can't be 6. That would be spicy.
We're keeping the stream alive until then, guys.
Hey, I'm with it. I'm for that timeline.
I'm here for Everton getting boned on the last day.
And is that the one where I say inject it? Because I'll take that.
Yeah,
inject it.
I'll take that.
Main line.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I think that we'll keep an eye on that over the next 6 or 8 weeks. Relegation. Not much has changed, but there are some spicy relegation 6-pointers coming up over the next 10 or 7 days, and Sean is got his hands up in the air in triumph because he called this Newcastle implosion, and my oh my, is it quite the implosion?
About 3 weeks ago, I said Newcastle look awful. They're not playing well. I don't know what Steve Bruce is doing.
Nothing.
And let me read you their form: loss, 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 loss. You guessed it.
Yeah, they're
5 in a row.
They're abysmal.
Continue. You can keep going.
You would have a very interesting graphic on the screen at the bowling alley if you got 5 straight strikes. So whatever he's got in that form is going on the TV screen.
They have 1 draw.
You mean gutter balls?
Proud of Jurgen Klopp for being so.
Oh no!
Okay. Well, let's. Yeah. So they're garbage.
Was it at least up north? Was it at St. James?
Yeah.
All right. Well, at least it was in the north.
So it's the inevitable trend of the Brexit managers. It's what's gonna happen to West Ham too, right? Where a foreign manager could come in, one with pedigree. What are you growling at? One with pedigree, and he's gonna come in and build this team, right? And usually that team's pretty decent, could make like mid-table or whatever. Rafa Benitez did it for Newcastle. Pellegrini did it for West Ham. And then these stupid Brexit managers come in, and then they blame the foreigners for why their shitty tactics couldn't get a draw. Right? and then they sell all the players with any individuality, any flair, any technique, any of that out of their team, and then they're like stuck there with Joe Linton and Andy Carroll up top, losing every game, wondering why that's not working.
Yo, my boy Isaac Hayden is running the midfield, and I won't hear anything else.
It's just like midfielders. Like,
you said Andy Carroll. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Why? Like,
I honestly forgot he was still playing.
Just like how Moyes got rid of what was his name? Felipe Anderson, who's really fucking good, and he got rid of Sebastian Haller.
Got rid of Jack Wilshere.
Jack Wilshere. And now he's got Souček, just headers to Souček as his only outball, right? And inevitably a team's gonna figure that out, and then he's gonna get sacked when West Ham are 17th in the league again.
They won't be 17th this year.
It just follows itself. Like,
well, let's.
One thing I did want to bring up before we leave the relegation area.
Yeah.
Was Jimenez that important to Wolves?
I mean, he was like,
he went out and they are down here scrapping 22 points, like trying not to get in there.
Yeah. They don't have a real and Jota left, so they don't really have like a out and out goal.
Nuno's a good manager. Like, correct, so was Jimenez that important?
Yes.
To answer your question, yes.
If Harry Kane got injured for Spurs, they were like 8th in the league. Last year when he got a goal scorer is very important.
I mean, COVID did save Spurs last year because if he came back and football came back at the same time, so
yes, they did.
So
because he has ankles of glass.
Yeah, so main goal scorer, very important.
Well, now it's Son because they're both tied for second. I think they both have 12 behind
Salah.
Is it Salah?
Yeah, I looked at it earlier.
He's still top of the goal scoring.
Because they've been scoring goals, bro. It's been bad.
We haven't scored
a single goal. To be fair, Spurs have 2 at 12, and Salah has 13. Wait. To be fair.
Right, but let's go back to that, though, because Salah hasn't, Liverpool haven't scored a goal in, 4 games or something like that, right? 4 games.
A solid month
of not scoring goals in the league. And, he's still top. That's impressive.
I mean, it sounds like that's Arsenal status there for not scoring goals.
They're still top of the table in goals scored.
But yeah, they scored a boatload of goals before these 4 games.
That's impressive. That's amazing.
Yeah. You guys want to look forward? Talk about some upcoming games. So I was lamenting the fact to you guys earlier before we started recording. So today is a Tuesday evening. Before we record next Tuesday evening, 20 Premier League football games will take place. 2 full weeks of football will take place. So there's a lot of games coming up. So I kind of broke this down into 2 sections. We got midweek games, which will be finishing tomorrow, and then we got weekend games. And I guess I also lumped in next Tuesday's games to the weekend games because I'm confusing myself now. But so a couple games this midweek or tomorrow. We got Chelsea and Wolves tomorrow. Got Brighton and Fulham, Everton and Leicester, and Spurs and Liverpool. So the spiciest game out of all of those is clearly Brighton and Fulham.
Brighton and Fulham is such a spicy game.
That's going to be a good game.
Yes, I'm very interested in that game.
Chelsea and Wolves, I'm only want to talk about this because it's Tuchel's first game. I don't think it's going to be that interesting or that it won't tell us that much because they've had 1 training session.
At 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah, right.
It's going to be pretty boring.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much from that.
Everton Leicester is going to be good though.
If I could humbly offer some advice to Thomas this evening, I know he'll hear this before the match tomorrow, but start the number 18. Start the big beautiful Frenchman up front.
You know what would be really funny if Thomas Tuchel literally comes in and just plays 4-4-2. He just comes in and is like, fuck it, 4-4-2.
You guys are idiots. You're overthinking it. 4-4-2. Do it.
I'm gonna be crying.
What he's probably gonna do is put Christian back on the right and Werner on the left. That's what he's gonna do, right?
No.
Why wouldn't he?
Christian's still on the left. And
Christian's still on the left, Werner.
No, you forgot Ziyech.
Yeah.
He's on the right.
He's on the right.
He's on the right. And then it's if it's 2, it's Werner and Tammy or Giroud, but Werner's definitely one of the 2.
He's not playing 2. He's not playing 2 center forwards.
If we're talking Tammy's at 4-4-2, that's what that formation is, I think. Am I wrong?
Yeah, but
and Werner is not a. And I think
I was joking.
But let's Werner play off of somebody more so though.
It's not happening.
So I'm not. I don't think you're wrong, Tammy. I think it'd be hilarious. That's the main thing I'm interested in that game is who's playing.
Yeah.
That's about the interesting part is after the lineups.
Kepa is gonna play.
Kepa.
No.
No, you're actually right. Kepa is gonna play.
We want Kepa.
Kepa's gonna play because
Did you see the goal he gave up against Luton Town? No.
But Kepa's gonna play.
If that happens, this is now a Chelsea FCW podcast. I am not talking about Chelsea football anymore. We're talking Chelsea football women's. That's it.
Kepa has to play.
Check out Frank Kirby.
Can Mendy pass? Can Mendy pass?
No, you can't.
Yeah, so
Does it have time?
It's got to be
Not-
Kepa.
Not amazing,
Yeah.
but I hope not. I hope not. Please don't. Please let me sleep good tonight.
It's
Don't put that thought in my head.
Return of the Kep.
No, sir. Can we get return of Sean Math then too?
I tell you what I got for Spurs Liverpool, and I'll make it worth your time here.
Okay.
This is what's going to happen. We're going to get an early Sun goal, ride at 1-0 for a while, and then sometime early in the second half, Eric Dyer's going to Eric Dyer and get a straight red, and it's going to be 1-1.
Ooh. Okay.
It's been a long time since he's been himself.
True.
It's been a long time.
So
Harry Kane is about to have a field day with Jordan Henderson. Alright, this should ending like 3-1. This shit gonna be fucking terrible.
So you think Liverpool finally stopped the slump and get a goal?
Where did get a goal?
Yeah. Once Eric Dyer's off.
You got a goal, bro. You don't understand it. The last month we didn't score any goals.
I know.
None.
In the league, I know you guys scored the FA Cup.
Fucking anywhere. We're gonna end up fucking scoring a goal, and then Spurs are gonna fucking batter us, senseless. Which is fucking.
That's not how Mourinho works.
Which is so fucking needed.
I mean, he's 6-1 to United.
Yeah, he fucking 6-1.
Actually, you know what? That might be the key to success is just score first against Mourinho, and then he just doesn't turn the offense off because every time we score first, he just all right, pack it in.
Park the bus.
What do we think is going to happen in this Everton-Leicester game? Everton is welcoming Leicester to Liverpool. I think that'll be a good game too.
That'll be a great fucking game.
I think Brendan Rodgers
really
does us
excited
all a
about it.
solid and get some Liverpool love over Everton there. Well, isn't Jamie?
Yeah, right.
Well, Jamie Vardy's injured. Jamie Vardy's out for a couple weeks,
Jamie Vardy's out for a couple weeks.
so that could change the outlook a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, Harvey Barnes up top. It's gonna be great.
Leighton Baines done. I haven't seen him floating around in a while.
Leighton Baines has been done for a few years now.
Wow.
Oof.
So
And then he's still playing though. He's still
That's what I was. All right. So I was like, man, I was thinking in my head. I was like, I thought I saw him playing like last year.
going on because they don't play him even when they have no left backs. They play Ben Godfrey as a left back, but they won't play Leighton Baines.
So he's still on the roster. He's just done.
Yeah, he's just
he's collecting a Mesut Ozil paycheck.
Yeah, they're paying him vacation time.
he's on. Yeah, he's on.
He's on that Gareth Bale.
He's on the fast track to be an assistant manager.
Yeah, he's on the fast track to be assistant manager.
So let's move to the weekend because there are some more interesting games this weekend coming up. We got West Brom is hosting Fulham in the 6-pointer. Arsenal are hosting United. We're gonna do everybody a solid there. Southampton and Villa, that'll be an interesting game. And then our trap games coming up. We got Chelsea hosting Burnley. West Ham is hosting Liverpool, and Brighton are hosting Spurs. You think Brexit Moyes is gonna do one over Liverpool this weekend, Tamzid?
Absolutely.
Is that a trap game though? Because isn't West Ham higher up the table?
It's a trap game for West Ham.
Trap game for West Ham.
Hey, it's a trap game for West Ham.
You're telling me 5'9" Jordan Henderson versus 6'4" Thomas Tuchel. All right, mate.
I refuse. There's no way.
There's tons of ways, apparently.
Well, I don't know. I think the interesting games, the most interesting game that weekend is clearly Arsenal United. Clearly,
Yes, it is.
Yes, you're not wrong. You're trying to be
With
hyped
the form
about it.
they're in.
we're gonna show the league just how garbage that team is.
I was really. You know what? It was odd. As a Tottenham fan,
that team is just terrorism. Like, fuck United. Like, they're not good.
We're gonna do everyone a solid.
Watching the game today.
The Arsenal game?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually I found myself oddly concerned when Laka hit the post.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh no, please don't be hurt. And then I was like, wait a minute.
This is
Therapy's hurt.
part number 3 of Sean pulling for Arsenal. The Spurs.
Well, it wasn't necessarily pulling for you guys, but I just didn't want him to be hurt because you guys have been in good form. It's good. You guys have been playing really well recently.
I was impressed with Arsenal today in that we conceded early, but continued to play and ended up dominating the game.
Yeah.
I thought that like when Southampton scored, I was like, oh crap, here we go again. But then when Pepe didn't fall over, so I don't know if you guys watched the game, but we scored the way we scored our first was it was a through ball to Pepe. He got behind the defense, and the defender was holding onto his back in the box. I was pretty sure that Pepe was falling over and gonna try and get a penalty, because that's just kind of what Pepe does. He just kind of falls over and looks at the ref. And so I was pretty sure that he was going to fall over, and he neatly slotted the ball past the keeper, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Pepe dribbles like Octodad.
Yo, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
He dribbles like he has no bones in his body. Like he's just like.
I don't. But so I was pleasantly surprised, and I do honestly think Arsenal are going to beat United. Because I still just don't think United are good. I refuse to accept it. Maybe it's all my bias, but I refuse to accept this United team as title challengers because they're just not going to happen. Arsenal are going to beat them 3-0.
Well,
write it down.
What I'd say is because of the week off and then the cup game, which was a wash for Tottenham, I've found myself watching more and more Arsenal games, just trying to get games in for what we do. And
it's a good choice.
From my perspective,
good choice.
Saka's better than Martinelli. I think he's more important to you guys. Saka is really important to your attack.
Agreed.
He seems to be the linking, he's not the finisher, but he's the linking point. Well, and then play off of his movement, and that's what it seems to be. A lot of your goals come from when there's a Saka touch in it.
Yeah, he's probably our most.
He's the one that assisted Laka today, right? He's the one that made the run and put it across the Laka.
Yeah, and he scored a goal. He scored and he assisted. So I'm certainly never trying to downplay Saka's importance to our team. But in defense of Martinelli, I would say that he's just getting back from injury. I think that he's.
I'm not poo-pooing Martinelli.
He's a much more direct player, and he wants to run at you and through you and score beautiful goals. So I think that they're slightly different players in that respect. But I think that next.
Well, let me rephrase then. He's a more important. Saka is a more important player to your team.
I'll give you that. But Martinelli's going to be a beast for us. Wait, next year.
Saka is a busier player.
Yes.
Than Martinelli. He's more involved.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying last week about comparing him to Hudson-Odoi. Is that I think that he just does more on the pitch, and that's why I have this opinion that I think he's a better player than Hudson-Odoi. But
Hudson-Odoi is about to turn into really fucking good under Thomas Tuchel.
I guess we'll see.
Brad, don't shake your head. You have no idea how Thomas plays.
I mean, if he took Pulisic and made Pulisic into what he is, then I'm here for it. And apparently he wants to keep the English core. So I'm here for it.
Okay,
is it going to win part 2? Is that what you're saying,
PR. 100% this is PR from him. That
I'm with you. But
it's probably
we'll
he met with the Chelsea higher-ups, and he's like, look, they're not going to sell their entire core for a manager that they only have an 18-month contract with. There aren't. This is kind of a can you make this team work situation.
I promise you, Thomas Tuchel has no idea who Mason Mount is.
when it came out today that
he has no idea who Mason Mount is.
Like when it came out that he was going to keep them. And,
like who?
Yeah, like I
hope he walks into Chelsea's training ground and he's like, Mason, what's on your head? Go get a haircut. Then come back to training.
So anything else you guys want to talk about in those games? Any of the Brighton Spurs? Does that scare you? Does Neil Maupay?
No, but West Brom Fulham's. No, I tell you why it scares me is that's going to be a 1-1 draw. West Brom Fulham is gonna. That's like a 3-1er. Like Fulham's gonna put it on West Brom if they do anything like what they did today. They looked awful. They looked lost and awful today against City.
Well, yeah, that's when City plays a championship club. That's how it should look.
Yeah, City are really good.
City would do the same thing to Fulham. Like,
no, I don't think so. Fulham play a different style. They play more aggressive, and West Brom sits back too much.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, like the talent level isn't there for Fulham. Like I think West Brom Fulham's going to be a good game. I think Fulham wins.
Scott Parker has West Brom playing well.
Say again.
Scott Parker has Fulham playing well, not West Brom.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Fulham.
West Brom's a big Yeti fan.
Already this season. At some point, I'm fully convinced they have. Give me 1 second.
I don't think you can judge West Brom on how they played City in this game. They drew City. What was it like? A month?
2 weeks ago, right?
6 weeks ago. Yeah, it wasn't very long ago that they drew.
It's like
City.
a revenge game or something.
No,
it was Big Sam's first game. So like, I don't think you can say that. Like, of course, West Brom is going to look lost because City's like, wait, you drew us last time. We're coming with everything. West Brom Fulham is interesting. I think Fulham still wins. I don't think you're wrong there. And to James's point, Scott Parker has them playing really well. I don't think they're going to necessarily blow them out the water. I don't think it's going to be amazing, but yeah.
So we started talking about West Brom and Fulham, and I was remembering West Brom played West Ham last week, right? And they had signed Robert Snodgrass from West Ham, and apparently Sam Allardyce before the game came out and was like, said something about like, well, they wouldn't sell us this player unless we agreed that we wouldn't play him in this match, which apparently runs afoul of all of the transfer rules. And I was thinking I had to look to see if anything had come from that yet, but nothing has come from it yet.
Outstanding that Sam Allardyce is the one talking about running foul on transfer rules. Like,
right? Isn't it just ironic? It's the same person over and over again.
Truly outstanding.
It's the least shocking thing, that Sam Allardyce.
Sam Allardyce.
Exactly. But I so sorry that I zoned out there for a second because I needed to look to see. Apparently the league was satisfied that nothing had gone wrong. So maybe we're not going to hear anything more about that. But okay, yeah. You guys got anything else?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. So I guess Brad, I'm gonna start rambling and talking like I'm gonna get us to the outro because I'm expecting you to interrupt me rudely with some stupid Cheeto fact or Snapple lid fact. So I guess.
How long has it been, Brad? Let's get it out of the way.
Do you want it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, Brad. Do the history lesson. So let's do this. So this is the presidential history lesson in honor of our inauguration day. The last time that Tottenham won a trophy, good old G-Dub was the president.
Mm-hmm.
The last time that they won the FA Cup, James's favorite trophy, Daddy Bush was in office. It's 91.
Yep.
The last time they won the league.
Wow.
Anybody have a guess on who the president was on the last time
that was
Tottenham
72,
won?
so we're going to go... Is that Nixon's first, or is Nixon?
72? What are you thinking?
It was in the 70s, right?
Sir. It was 61.
Oh, 61.
So that would be
JFK.
That would be Mr. JFK. John F. Kennedy was the president the last time Tottenham won the league.
I thought it was first couple of years of the 70s. So, all right.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the history lesson.
I remember seeing that tweet earlier. I think it was on Wednesday.
Yep. So I just want to make sure.
In 2004,
I think Brad printed it out of his jerseys behind him.
I saved it. I definitely saved it. I have it pinned right here, ready to go.
Alrighty. Well,
I wrote it on a post-it note.
Thank you for that history lesson. It was
quite. That's your job, Sean.
Quite
your
elucidating. But we're gonna get out of here, Brad. Tell us where to contact you, where to reach you, where to send our angry Chelsea hate mail.
Listen, I'm all for it. At KSBradG on Twitter and Instagram is the best way to get in touch with me. I love chatting with people, so send it up.
Tanzid, what you got? What you got, bro?
At Firmino's Dentist, where you'll find me beefing with Liverpool journalists.
Top Reds versus not Top Reds, right? That's what it's
Those second boomers are going to get it now.
Sean, where were you?
You can find me at Whiteheart_Sean on Twitter.
And as always, I'm at James Tiffany. You can find this podcast at redcard_radio. If you're listening to this on a podcast site, rate, comment, subscribe, whatever you got to do on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Interact with us. We'd love to hear your opinions. Tell Brad why he's wrong. Those are our favorite comments. So, until next time, this is our look at the match day 19-ish again, wherever we are. We'll be back next week with some more games having been played, but we appreciate it. Y'all have a great time.